Hey everyone, Prism Meddler here, and I am doing an album review. And no, it's not going to be a reaction album review like I did with Five Finger Death Punch's new album, but I'm still going to go with track by track and all that. And I'm going to do a review on Trivium's Vengeance Falls. My thoughts about this album. I think this is a really great album, but I just don't think it's their best. Many people put this album as their weakest, but I don't think it's that close to the weakest. The weakest, in my opinion, would probably be their debut album, Ember to Inferno. That's probably their weakest, in my opinion, but don't get me wrong, Ember to Inferno is a great album, but the reason, well, this video is not about Ember to Inferno. I am about to do an album review on that later, but we're going to talk about, we're doing Vengeance Falls right now. So, yeah, this is their 1 out of 2 albums to feature their drummer Nick Gusto. Before he leaves the band in May 2014. This album came out in October 10th, 2013. And as y'all may notice, this album was produced by David Draymond from Disturbed. Let's talk about the sound on this album. It sounded more like, how I describe about this album sounds more like the more radio friendlier version of In Waves. That's how I described about this album. But let's talk about the songs. First we got Brave the Storm. It's got a nice riff, go dun 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 dun. It sounds like a typical like metalcore type song, but it has more like clean vocals. But still, definitely a great track. There's nothing really. For Brave the Storm, I'm gonna have to give this song about probably an 8 out of 10 for Brave the Storm. Vengeance Falls. It definitely. This may sound like a typical, like a radio type song. You may compare it like Inner Sandman or whatnot, but and then it slightly turns into like a faster riff whenever it hits the bridge. Whenever Matt screams "Vengeance Falls," and then sounds like a thrashier type song whenever it hits the bridge. For that, I'm also going to give this an 8 out of 10. Strife, that's probably one of the band's most popular songs. It's really nothing new. It's pretty much every song pretty much sounds the same, but it's really nothing special about this track, but it's still really good. I'm also going to give this an 8 out of 10. No Way to Heal, that's one of my favorite songs on this track. It sounded more faster than their last 3 songs. But it's very melodic. And that's all I have to say about this one. No Way to Heal, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. To Believe, another solid track. Sounds more like, I wouldn't compare it to Crusade, but it's much more melodic than Crusade, however. Maybe because I don't think there's any clean vocals. I'm sorry, harsh screaming in this song. I think as far as I'm concerned. Maybe the last verse, but you could barely hear it. But another great song, definitely a typical radio heavy metal type song, but for that one, I'm probably going to give this an 8 as well. At the end of this war, starts off with like a ballad, and then and then becomes to their traditional Vengeance Falls sound. I thought the choruses are catchy, and then the breakdown's nice, but I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. It's just nothing special about it. Through Blood and Dirt and Bone, great song. Typical song on here, but I feel like other songs are better. I'm going to probably give this one a 7 as well. Villainy Thrives. This sounds like a really great build-up track. I thought the verses and the hook is catchy. Very comparable to another Inner Sandman type track. And then nice little guitar solo. I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10. Now here's the two songs that are my favorite. Incineration, The Broken World. I actually love that song. It has a nice little powerful chorus. And then it's very melodic. It starts from like a typical verse, and then it became like very powerful, like singing and then it has multiple guitar solos. And it's just epic. It sounds like an epic type track. I'm going to give this song a 10 out of 10. I thought this was... And then we got Wake, The End Is Nigh. Just like with the last track, Incineration, The Broken World. Incineration, my bad. You got... it starts off with the ballad. And then... it starts becoming like raw the on and I know my voice sounds a bit like Dave Mustaine with the singing, but it's nothing like Dave Mustaine. It's more like power metal, like with more like reject voice, if you know what I mean. And it's just it's no different from Incineration, The Broken World. It's just definitely a 10 out of 10 on this one. Now let's go with the bonus tracks. No Hope for the Human Race. Probably my least favorite track out of all the album, to be honest. I have to give this one like a 7 out of 10. I feel like this is the weakest track on this album. I feel like... I do like the guitar solos in the bridge. However, don't get me wrong, but I just feel like this is their weakest song from this album. So I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. As I Am Exploding, love that song. That is very underrated. It starts like a thrash metal type song at the beginning, and then it becomes like a more like power metal singing, like from Matt's vocals. It's just epic, dude. It's like a thrash. It kind of reminds me of it's more like Crusade a bit, but it's just very epic. Skulls, We Are 138. It's a cover from Misfits. I thought that was a great track. And then it sounded more like thrash metal than their punk type sound, but it's really great. And then Losing My Religion from R.E.M. Great song. Skulls, We Are 138. I give this a 9. And Losing My Religion, I give it an 8. So 9.8, 9.6, 9.4, 9.3, 9.0, 8.7, 8.5, 8.4. I'm going to give this album a 7.8 out of 10. I thought this was a great album. it's nowhere near as a masterpiece like Ascendancy or Sin of the Sentence and Shogun. But I don't think this album's their weakest. Now, let's talk about the vocals. Now here I'm going to rate the vocals. Production was amazing. I'm going to give the production a 10 out of 10. No, the score doesn't count as my overall rating, just so y'all know. I think Matt has one of the best vocals on this album. Yeah, it does sound more like David Draymond's vocals, but I just really love the vocals from that album. It's probably one of the best clean vocals that I've ever heard. His screaming is just very typical, like from his previous album In Waves, but I just thought his singing was great. It's probably one of the best singings I've ever heard. So 10 out of 10. The guitarists, the guitars, love the melody, love the, I forgot what tune guitars sound, but I just like the sound of this album, so I'm gonna have to give the guitar sound a 9 out of 10. I wouldn't call it a 10 out of 10 because it's just not like perfect, but I've decided to give it a 9 out of 10 because I just love it. It's amazing, and I feel like that's a good enough rating for a 9 out of 10. Bass. The bass is nothing special, but however, there is a bass solo from Incineration, This Broken World. You don't really pay attention much. I'm not going to rate the bass, so there's really nothing much about it. No offense. Drumming, typical metal drumming. That's all I have to say on this album. So, yeah, I'm going to rate this album a 7.8 out of 10. So, what is your score rating, or how do you rate these songs from this album? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.